Here we go. Here we go. And then once we go live there, I got to click the. Uh, oh, that should not be good. Okay, there we go. I think we are live, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey.
Hey. Gracious 2 back again. Episode 15, ladies and
Hey,
gentlemen.
15. All right, sweet.
It's
Just keep
crazy.
racking them up.
Lucky number 15.
Yes. For those who hear that in the background, that's Bobby. He's in the middle of traveling, so he's going to mute himself so we don't have to deal with that noise. Hopefully he can pull some stuff up for us. I don't know if he can. We have a awesome guest coming on today, Mr. Steve Savo, is I believe how you say the name. He's done a bunch of cool stuff, been a fan of Live for a long time, a fan of Chad's, and his sons are picking up the torch and rolling with it. They're making movies, producing music and stuff. So there's a lot of cool stuff to speak to him about.
Very cool. Look forward to it.
Chad,
What's that?
how you doing today? How's life?
Oh, pretty good. Pretty good. Wrote down a list, a couple things I wanted to talk about.
Cool. Are you hanging in there? Is the world bringing you down yet?
World's never bringing me down. I'm hanging in.
That's what I like to hear. So yeah,
I'm nursing my stymie though, but that's it.
Oh, those are the worst, dude. They hurt.
Yeah. Well, mine didn't hurt, but anyways.
Oh no.
It's on the upside of getting better now. It was getting worse. Last night I think it popped.
Yeah, that's when the tension relieves itself. I've had them where it's like my eyes almost swollen shut.
Yeah, I'd never had one until about 4 years ago. Now or 3 years ago. Now I've had like 4 of them. I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh my God. Are you a feeder or an eater? This is the most disgusting thing I've ever heard. I'm listening to Howard Stern. A feeder is somebody who shits in somebody else's mouth, and an eater.
Oh yeah, I heard that too. It's like, what the fuck? I'm neither. Thank you.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, went going there early.
Oh shit. Stern. Hilarious.
But on a serious note, Governor Abbott doing his thing, trying to protect America one state at a time. Texas taking big strides to stop the stream of illegal immigrants coming in. And thank God somebody's doing it, because we can't rely on our federal government, apparently.
Apparently not. Definitely not.
Got to make
federal government's trying to import voters.
Right. And you were telling me something scary about, is it Cali or LA specifically?
Well, Los Angeles specifically, it's something called DACA Cops, DACA Cops, and it's their first class of DACA Cops are being graduated, I think now, and what they basically are is illegal immigrants that are now cops in LA, are going to be cops.
Oh yeah.
So they are here illegally, so they've broken the law, but now they are policemen supposedly to uphold our laws and carry a gun. So an illegal immigrant can now ask you, with no papers, can now ask you for your papers.
Good luck.
Sounds like a setup for failure.
Good luck.
So I mean, what the fuck?
Exactly. Yeah, like
leftist insanity. I mean, it's friggin' crazy.
It's insane. I mean, it seems like they're trying, like this is how you would write a story if you wanted, your city to fail or your country to fail. Like, you don't just start letting people who are undocumented, not here legally, carry guns and then question American citizens. It just doesn't seem right. And
it's insane. It's fucking literally insane. And they think, like I was telling you earlier, I follow this guy Kramer Says on Instagram, and he's been going off about it. And he's like, yeah, he thinks they're gonna, basically do this in all the blue cities.
God, well, let it be a test in LA, because they'll realize real quick how that fails. Because what happens when one of these illegal immigrants questions an American, and then it gets to a point where a gun is drawn and he shoots an American citizen and he's an illegal immigrant? That's
right.
when you see riots and uprising in the streets.
Uprising, it's, you're going to have to get the Supreme Court involved. I mean, it's going to be ridiculous. And it's just a matter of time before that happens. Yeah, it's just, it drives you crazy.
Can you imagine you need the Supreme Court involved for something that is clearly illegal and we already have laws on? It's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, maybe it'll go to a federal judge at the lower level, but it's like, yeah, it just baffles and boggles the mind that this is something they do. Well, I mean, so the left launches this whole defund the police thing. You have demoralized police. No one wants to be a police officer, and
Right.
now they're bringing in illegal immigrants to be police officers. It's like,
I
what
wonder
the
if they're
fuck?
paying them less money. You know what I'm saying? Like, was this their way to defund the police by hiring lesser?
Maybe.
My God, dude! Like, you can't make this stuff up. Like, it just seems so asinine for that to be even thought of. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? My
it
goodness.
is. It's completely asinine. It's just like I said, it's leftist insanity. And
I want.
then, the other thing I wanted to talk about was the Boston mayor has had she sent out an email and it mistakenly was sent out to everyone in her cabinet. Only electives of color had their own Christmas party. No whites were invited, but
Wow.
that's okay.
Yeah.
Reverse segregation, I guess, is what, guess what? I mean, it's just segregation. That's not even reverse segregation. That's allowed now on the left.
And what happens? What happens if they were to do an all, white party or an
Well,
all?
that could never fly. That would never fly. You can't do that.
Well, right, but why is one good and one isn't? I mean, it shouldn't be
They're
segregation.
both they're both shitty,
Yeah.
exactly, but not to leftists. One is good and one is not.
My goodness. I mean, you're creating uneven playing fields, and that's what kind of got us to this place to begin with.
Right.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
we don't learn from our past. I mean, that's the biggest takeaway that I've ever heard from any history lesson is you need to learn from past
Well,
mistakes.
this is why the left destroys history. They don't want to learn history. They want to tear down all the statues of history. They want to destroy history so that they can repeat it. It's just insane.
But
I mean, none of it makes sense. I keep saying it's like upside down world, it's clown world. It's just like, what the fuck are we living through?
right. And when did it become so like the Kennedy years, even the Bill Clinton years, like the left was firing on all cylinders at that point.
Oh,
And
this all started with Obama.
yes,
All this shit started with Obama.
point. Very good.
Defunding the police, this whole like there's this gigantic race problem in America. That all started with Obama.
I want to make it very, very clear that I voted for Obama. And
So did I.
in the first,
Twice.
right, in the first Bush election, I voted for who is it, Gore?
Yeah, Gore ran. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was literally Democrat at that point. Like I said, I'm still a registered Democrat. So I'm not talking out of like I grew up completely Republican and stuff. I'm not even saying I'm a Republican now. I'm literally, middle of the coin person who votes per party. But it just seems that the right is making a lot more sense nowadays, and the left seems to have an agenda to fucking take down this country for some reason. I just don't
Yeah.
understand it.
Yeah, the left was always trying to be progressive and inclusive and all that stuff, but now it's like they're just completely anti-American.
Right.
Like they're trying literally to destroy the country. It's just wild.
Yeah, you're being inclusive to the point where you're bringing biological males to compete against biological females. I mean,
Right.
there's a line drawn somewhere.
All of the things that are completely illogical and insane just seem to be on that side now. I mean, the right has its own problems. They got fucking radical, racist, fucking disgusting idiots.
Yeah.
You have fucked up politicians on the right. None of the party is perfect, obviously, but all the crazy, like I just said, crazy illogical shit that they want to push on you is coming from that side.
Well,
And then they're like biology. They're like, we follow science. It's like, no, you don't. Not with the biological men that are now call themselves women, and you are like, no, they're women. It's like
yeah,
throwing science out the window on that.
good.
But like if you're anti-vax, you're anti-science. It's like, oh my God. I just don't
Correct.
want to inject shit into my body that they're making me inject into my body. That means I'm anti-science.
Yeah. And then if you do follow the science and you're seeing people that are getting all these heart problems and strokes and all this stuff, I mean, there's science there that shows shit is
Oh yeah,
not going the way it should with some stuff.
definitely not. But then it's like my body, my choice for abortion, but then not for experimental vaccines.
Well, when I'm watching the Republican debates and when those four candidates up there, they're all a bunch of momos. Like, if that's the
Yeah.
best that they have besides Trump, good fucking luck, man. Chris Christie, he ran New Jersey into the ground and he's fucking trying to run for president. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
his best bet was to blow Trump and become his VP in the 2016 election, but he fucked that up with, I forget what it wasn't Bridgegate. It was something he did after, but because there
Oh
was
yeah, I can't remember what he did. Something
something stupid.
blew him up. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But
during COVID, he shut down all the beaches, and he was on the beach with his family.
that's right. That's right. It was solo, sitting
Yeah,
like a beached whale, actually.
yeah, just by himself and his family. No one else is allowed on the beach. Just like here, all the restaurants are shut down. Fucking Newsom is at the French Laundry in Napa.
Right. And like, do they not realize that we're in the world of the internet where everything you do is filmed and streamed and everybody can see? Like, you can't say that this is bad for us, but yet you're indoor dining and
Well, he also had like I guess Newsom owns a winery, and like one county the wineries are all shut down, but in the county that his winery in, the wineries are not shut down. His kids went to private school, so all the public schools were closed, but all the private schools were open.
how convenient.
And people just sort of like, oh, he's great. We love, he's so presidential. He speaks really well. It's like, he fucking lies to your face all goddamn day long.
Yeah, all you have to do is be handsome and tell a lie well, and you're good.
Yeah, apparently.
Apparently, you know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
It's just insane. But just like I was saying, to think of going back to JFK and the way the Democrats were then, to fast forward to now, I think JFK would look at this party and be like, "Yeah, what the fuck is going on here, guys?"
Well, RFK, his nephew was trying to run Democrat. They pushed him out. They won't even let him primary.
Right, right, taking him down
I mean,
because
he's like classic Democrat.
yeah, yeah. He just happened to write a book about Fauci, the real Anthony Fauci. I think it came out before COVID. Like this guy was on him already.
Oh yeah, no, Kennedy's been, not I wouldn't say anti-vax, but like, especially for kids, like he's been advocating, let's not make it mandatory the full schedule for all kids. Like it's
Right.
not one size fits all because it
Right.
damages children.
Yeah, like
Obviously.
let's look into it further. There's some shit popping
Yeah.
up that doesn't make sense. Yeah. I mean,
So he's been on that tip the whole time. And, of course, Fauci is always like, this was all pro-vax for everybody and just give everybody the same thing.
what do we do here to get this back to a place that's breathable? Like it seems like we're so far gone.
I don't know.
Because my
It's like,
answer, honestly, I'm sorry to cut you off, but my answer honestly would be President Trump in 2024. But my biggest issue with that is the divide that man brings. It polarizes the left and right so far because people just can't stand the fact that a guy speaks the way he does, yet he runs the country so well. So it's like, I don't give a shit if somebody talks about grabbing somebody by the pussy. If he's running America properly and making it great again, like, what do I care?
right. Well, I mean, I agree with you, but it's just the left is just they've been taught and propagandized to fucking hate him no matter what he does.
Right. That's just my scary thought because I know if we have another 4 years of what we have now, we're fucked. And then I think if the country gets crazy divided like it was, we're then fucked. There's no left and right meeting in the middle. It's just a crazy, crazy time.
Well, what's interesting about that is like, Biden's president. No, I mean, I don't think any conservatives like him, but you don't like maybe fortunately, unfortunately, we're not going fucking crazy in the streets. If Trump
Right.
got back in, the left would just go fucking insane because that's what they do. And they'll have their mostly peaceful protests and burn down cities and shit. But that's okay.
Yeah, that's
They're
fine.
allowed to.
Of course. I'm going to switch gears here and bring our lovely guest on. For those who were listening in the beginning of the show, we have Mr. Steve Savo coming on, a man of many hats, many talents, and he's got sons following the footsteps. So that's kind of cool. And he's
Cool.
live to us from the
Oh, he's got his sweatshirt on and everything. What's up, Steve?
What's up, boys? How you doing?
Very
Yes.
good. How are you?
Nice
Good.
shirt.
You guys, you can hear me?
Perfect.
Yes, sir.
If I didn't have these kids, and even at my job, if I didn't have younger people in my life, I wouldn't know how to do this. I mean, I kind of know how to do Zoom, but I'm like, I'm going to mess this up. And then when I saw Z-Man on, it was a delay. I was freaking out for him because I'm like, I want to see Z-Man. So I'm like, thank God my son Rocky's sitting to my left.
Nice.
Kevin's in the other room trying to do stuff with his movie, but I'm
Kudos
happy to be
Rocky.
here, guys.
Thank you for setting them up, Rocky. We definitely appreciate that. We're happy to have you, Steve. You sent me a bunch of links. Hey, there he is.
What's up, Rocky?
So I'm gonna try and pull them up. Our young producer Bobby is in the middle of traveling. I'm gonna see if he could pull those up, but if not, I'm gonna try to. But I always have issues when I try to stream, like show a video or something. So I've tried to work them out. I've not yet been successful. So Steve, talk to me. You play music yourself, or did?
No, I still do. So I've been drumming for like 35 years. I started everything late in life. I kind of feel funny because after Jimmy Lang was on the show, I saw one of the listeners like, "You're talking about Live, you're talking about Rush," but Jimmy and I became friends because we have those two bands in common. So
Right.
I've seen and hung out with Rush for so many years that I've seen him 126 times. And
Wow, nice.
Neil said to me one day, because I would always air drum, because one of my closest friends, Dean Kosh, would air drum, and he was a great drummer, and I was just an admirer. And when he would air drum, I would watch. I'm like, oh, I know that's the hi-hat, I know that's the snare, I know that's the splash and China, etc. So I got so good at air drumming that one day Neil Peart's like, when I was hanging out at Soundcheck, why don't you get a drum set? So
Wow.
I did. And the funny thing is, years later, when I had kids, my son Mark's like, when he was really young, because I took all my kids to shows young, and he's like, "Hey, Daddy," he goes, "that guy was air drumming, and he stopped when he saw you." And I was like, "Yeah, because he knows I'm the best," just joking around. But years later, here I am in Boston, and some dude taps me on the shoulder. He goes, "Man, you're pretty spot on." I turn around, I'm like, "Oh, thanks, man." And I do a double take. I go, "No." I go, "You're complimenting me," and it was Mike Portnoy.
Wow.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah, so he goes, I'll be good in the second set. It was R40 where they did things backwards. He goes, the older stuff is where I'm good at. And we hung out for the rest of the show, talking drums, in between, and stayed friends. So that was cool. I'm probably a better air drummer than I'm a drummer, but I fancy myself as an entertainer. There's so many drummers better than me locally.
Yeah.
But I guess the best compliment I get is, man, he goes, "But you're more fun to watch."
There you go.
That's
And
cool. Well,
that-
I mean,
yeah,
you got a
so-
recommendation to get a drum set from the master. I mean, why? How couldn't you?
Yeah. I kept it pretty simple with that guy. I used to be afraid to Kevin would come on the road with me and hang out with Getty and Alex and goes, "Dad, there's Neil." I'm like, "Well, I'm not going over there." So he goes over there. And so Neil took a liking to Kevin from 6 years old on. And I said, "Well, if you're going to go over there, give him these Jeff Buckley CDs that I recorded for him," because I knew Neil liked Jeff Buckley. And before I met Rush, I saw a book about the Soviet Union. And I put a letter in a page where someone was wearing a Rush shirt. I'm like, "Boy, I know they never been there, but give this to Neil," before I got to know the band. And he wrote me back as a 17-year-old. And
wow.
fast forward years later, I write inside the CDs, "Hey Neil, if you want some more of these CDs, I made them for you. Here's our address," knowing he wouldn't say, "Yeah, Steve, send me more,"
Right.
but knowing that 2 weeks later he sent a postcard. "Dear Kevin, thanks for joining Dad on the road. I'm glad you had a good time. Thank Dad for the Jeff Buckley CDs," and it was just so cool, full circle, and a lot of cool memories. With them and with a lot of other bands, and including your band, Chad. Maybe I was an unconventional dad bringing my kids to concerts at 6, 7, 8, 10.
A great dad.
That's awesome.
Yeah, well, Kevin is 27 now. He could play drums, guitar, bass, sing, keyboards, does it all. And
Cool.
now he makes movies.
That's great.
Yeah, and and I didn't teach him any of that. And some of those pictures I sent to you, John, they surpassed you. My biggest stage was Toad's Place. You remember Toad's Place, Chad?
Yeah. What city is it in?
New Haven, Connecticut.
New
It's
Haven.
like
Oh,
our
yes,
whiskey
yes,
a
yes.
go-go.
Uh-huh.
So you got the whiskey in the West Coast, Toads. It was a place where U2 would play, and
Yep.
Billy Joel and Bruce. You
Oh, wow.
guys did the Secret Samani debut there before the album came out.
Right. Yes.
And it was weird because as much as I love your band, I didn't know anything but Lakinis. And I went to that show with Ken from English. Of course, you remember him.
I remember Ken. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I think Ken's the big boss at the agency group now, like either the vice president
Yeah,
or
he's pretty
president.
high up there for sure.
Yes, he is. He's so high up there that I got to talk to his assistant when I want to talk to him. But he was a Rush traveling buddy as we grew up, just going to see shows. And yeah, so I still play. I started playing in a band in '94, a band called Prime Element. I did record a record called The Storm Has Come. It's
Nice.
funny, like 30 years later, I had to have somebody give me back a copy I gave them because I don't even have one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And, I got better as I started playing with other musicians. I played in a band called Hype for 22 years that I just ended. And I kept the singer because, as much as I love running the band and booking the gigs, you got to have great talent up front.
Right.
So my
Yes.
singer, Mark DiBardino, fantastic human. This guy is so awesome, as a singer that I named my youngest son after him and spell it
Oh,
the same
wow.
way with a C.
cool.
Yeah. So today I'm gonna say this for the first time. My new band's called Epic.
Sweet.
We 30 songs behind the scenes. I'm not doing any shows till 2024. I think we're gonna debut just like Hype did at Toad's Place. I sent you a clip from a long time ago where we played Lightning Crashes and we sold out as a headliner at Toad's Place. And that was my biggest night ever, where I had 800 people singing back the chorus of Lightning Crashes. It was kind of cool.
What kind of feeling is that, man?
It's cool, but what's funny, when I'm in a room with other musicians that do originals, I kind of get embarrassed where, oh, you guys are great, or I love your band, and I'm always like, well, did you hear Scott's band? They just released a CD, and why don't you buy one? And it's cool, but it's just a little strange. So I'm glad as an older dude, I'm like humbled because I draw big crowds because I work my ass off.
Yeah.
And
Take
I
the
just, I don't know.
compliment, dude. Take the compliment. Don't be bashful.
Well, one of the coolest compliments I ever got was online from Chad. I was talking to someone online and I think I just said, I just served the song and I think you liked it. And I was like, oh, that's fucking awesome.
Nice. Very cool.
But
I'm gonna have
yes,
Bobby share
so,
one of your videos. I'm not sure which one, but soon enough he should be able to pull one up. But I didn't mean to cut you off there, Steve.
no, you're good. I need to shut up and like listen to the host.
No, never. So let me ask you this. So you said that your biggest crowd was 3,000 people, dude. That's a fucking
No. My biggest crowd was Toads, which was like 880. My kids have finally surpassed me. The next biggest place is the Oakdale Theater, and they do hip hop, and they kind of hid it from me for a little while because they know I'm not really into it. But as long as they don't do drugs, I don't give a shit what they're doing,
Yeah.
But they had 3,000 people there.
Nice.
And I'm thrilled that they surpassed that,
Absolutely, right? You always want your kids to do better than you, I think.
Yes.
Although some parents do get jealous, like I've heard mothers that wanted to be actresses get their daughters involved. Their daughters go to getting big jobs, and then the mother's all jealous. So that's
Those
good.
are narcissists.
Julio
That's a problem.
Iglesias too. Him and his son, he's like not cool with his son for some reason. It's like it's a big competition, and but whatever,
Enrique won that one. I think we know. So Bobby's pulling this up now. He's sharing the he's on his phone because, like I said, he's traveling. But this should be one of the videos that you sent us. So yeah, this is great. This is one of his son's movies, a trailer.
Oh, cool.
Bobby, you're not sharing with sound. I don't know if you could do that. So I'm going to stop your share. See if you could share again, but with sound. I apologize, folks. Again, we had these things kind of iron out, but while Bobby's traveling, it's a little different than his computer. So let's see if he could share with sound, and we'll get that
Damn,
going.
Bobby.
Steve is damn Bobby, exactly. Steve, was that trailer he just pulled up? Was that your son's latest movie, or was that the one before?
No, that is like a series that he has on YouTube. So he made two movies. First one he made with his own money, wrote, directed, starred, edited, financed, called The Opener, loosely based on his own life. And I have a cameo in that one. And then he got a $50,000 advance to make his second movie called Rerouting. And that's called The Adventures of Savo, where it's a satire and a play on our last name, where he's private investigator that saves hoes.
Nice.
Nice.
Savo. Is it Sabo, your last name, by the way?
Savo. I guess in Italy they
Savo.
say Savo, but it's Savo. Yeah.
I knew that. I was just checking to make sure you knew that. So Savo. Sabo Ho. I like that. That's cool.
You got to be. I was talking to Kev. You definitely down the road. You're going to come and film and be in one of those, man.
I'm in. You know that. I'm always
Because
down.
I watch some of your stuff, you know, your comedian stuff and your acting and whatever. And I was watching a show, I think with Bill, and you were talking about drugs, and it was very interesting to me.
Yes. So I had growing up, I got I grew up in North Jersey, and it was the 90s, and ecstasy and like psychedelics were all very popular. So I experimented a lot. And I knock on wood that I had a good experience with drugs, because I was always scared of them, and I did my research on them before I did them. But I've also watched a lot of people just go down tubes. So while I am a proponent of people experimenting and stuff, sometimes I'm not, because some people can't handle it. You kind of got to know yourself going into it and do your proper research. But I always had a good experience with them. Thank the Lord.
Even with PCP.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I had too much fun with PCP, to be honest. I had too much fun on it. People around me probably didn't have so much fun, because I would that stuff will make you out of your mind. It's a psychedelic plus a dissociative. So you could literally be not in this realm and see things that aren't there. So it could definitely get crazy. That's what I liked about it, though, is that it got me outside of my brain and made, kind of opened up to, wait a second, how am I seeing this like in front of my face? Like, is this possible that it's real? Or, is it a different realm? Or is it just like drug induced, psychosis or something? But, and then I've talked to plenty of people who've had similar experiences, and a lot of them feel connected. A lot of them feel, the same, like they're doing long-term studies with DMT. Is a fast-acting psychedelic. Usually you smoke it and it's about 10 to 15 minutes of a trip, but they're doing stuff now where they're having people, in a doctor's setting, intravenously drip it and do it for hours. And they're going to the same place and having very similar experiences. So they're diving in, doing research into it to see, because as you know, your body naturally produces DMT either at time of death, or sometimes I think they say at time of sleep. It could be what helps your dreams and stuff. So they're studying it, but I believe that either we can access other dimensions. I know it sounds crazy, but I believe that your brain could probably do it naturally, but drugs get you there a little easier. So Bobby's having technical difficulties. I'm gonna mute his ass, and then I'm gonna try and share it for us, Steve. But yeah, dude. Like I said, I'm down to clown with whatever you guys got going on. Your son especially produces some really really cool stuff. I'm just trying to see if I can pull these up while we're having this conversation. So don't mind me if I'm not.
I want to say something about drugs, because I listened pretty much for like an hour of that, probably the whole thing that when you were on in that show. And so before, during, and after, my divorce to my kid's mom, we were together for like 27 years, got married really young. I never did drugs in high school, and I was just a regular drinker, but all of a sudden I fell in love with painkillers. And then when the Oxycontins came around, show was over. And then I had an old buddy. He's like, no, you're going to do heroin. I'm not going to do heroin. I don't like needles. Sure enough, one day when I was sick and I could snort it, next thing you know, I'm doing 10 to 20 bags of dope a day.
Wow.
And
so Steve,
yeah,
you how long ago was that, if you don't mind?
Well, happy to say New Year's Eve this year will be 7 years I haven't had a drink, drug, or a cigarette.
Wow. Nice. Good for you.
Absolutely good for you. Because I know plenty of people that, once they go that route and they go with the heroin, I don't know many that came back from it. So God bless you for that, dude. That's a big feat you went off of. So Congratulations to
Well,
you.
I work at it. Thank you. I work at it every day. I go to meetings. I do NAAA. I went through the steps 3 times. I take guys through the steps. I mean, being on the show and talking about music and being with one of my favorite musicians is awesome, but nothing is more important to me than getting that message out, or strangers hitting me up instead of saying, I saw your band, you guys are great. They're like, I see your life changes. Can you help me? You know?
Oh, that's beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really.
I could drop what I'm doing at work and my bosses. I remember one day a girl came to my job on a Wednesday, and I'm off on Wednesdays. So ironically enough, today my boss has just let me leave for 3, 4 hours. But my boss overheard. He goes, Steve, I need help. I lost my phone, so I came to your job. I slept in the woods last night. The rehab has a bed for me. Can you give me a ride? And I turned to my boss. He's like, just go, go.
Wow.
And as I'm driving there, I said, this is God. I'm not overly religious, guys, but I'm very spiritual.
Same.
And I said, this is a God moment, because I'm normally off Wednesdays. Had you walked in and asked for Steve and he wasn't here, you might have went back to the woods and died.
Right.
Right.
Now, I certainly didn't save her,
Wow.
but there's a lot of moments like that happen. And I don't know, my journey's been pretty awesome, and so many things have changed. I remember on my birthday, I think it was like 6 months in, I was living with a girl who I'm not with anymore, but we're friends. And I drove to PNC to see live. I don't know if you remember this, Chad. I mean, you see a lot of friends, but I ran up and saw you, and I love how you say you could walk through the crowd and not be recognized, and that's probably a cool thing.
I love it.
And I said hello to you, and I'm like, oh, it's my birthday, man. I came by myself, and it was one of those cool things. On the way back, I remember she was busting my stones, like, when are you gonna come back? When I'm like, you know what? It's my birthday. I'm gonna do what I want. I drove to Jersey. Listen, I'll go to any show by myself, and I'm going to Pittsburgh to celebrate my 7-year anniversary by myself, because my kids can't come and see 3 Penguin games, because that's my other passion. Drove to Jersey. Listen, I'll go to any show by myself, and I'm going to Pittsburgh to celebrate my 7-year anniversary by myself. There we go.
Sorry about that.
Right. Okay, cool. So anyway, I'm driving back, and I'm like, you know what? I hung up politely, and I don't know. I just went home and made some life changes, and I was just driving to a show alone and back is where you lose out on an awesome time talking to someone. Like my son Rocky and I are big hockey fans, so we drive 7 hours to Pittsburgh. He's like, oh, I'm going to take a little nap. I'm like, well, Rock, 30 minutes and we're there. That's how much talking we do. That's awesome. So to be alone in a car for 2, 3 hours to go see a band anywhere, you got to love the band. And I just started learning more about myself. Like, I'm going to just do what I want. I used to be afraid of flying. Now I'm a sober man. We go to California Rock 2 years ago. We flew to just drive on the Pacific Coast Highway, and we caught the Penguins in LA, Anaheim, and San Jose. Then the following year, we went to Colorado. 9 more NHL arenas, and I've done all 32.
Oh, wow.
Sweet.
So I live my life now. And once again, Chad, I know it's probably something you don't even remember, but just to see you, to run into you at a show that I'm by myself, to see one of my favorite bands. Because listen, I love Rush, and they're like musicians band, but something about live got me on my feet. And I'm not, it's funny, a drummer who doesn't dance, but live makes me move, and it just brings out the best in me. So that meant a lot to me. I'm like, and I'll be damned if someone was going to ruin it on the way home. And I just hung up and enjoyed the ride home,
That's freaking great. Wow.
Love it.
I like your comment. Drummer doesn't dance. I fucking hate dancing.
Well, I mean, I could move from the waist down, because I used to play hockey. I can ice skate, I could roller skate, but like, what do I do with the top half of my body? So I can move my hips, but what am I going to do? Like Aaron Jones? I'm like, forget it,
Chad,
That's cool, man.
Chad, you kind of have like a dance groove while you're drumming, though. I mean, you're real animated behind that kit. I mean, you might not be standing up on your 2 feet, but back there, you're like,
Wow, yeah. I don't consider that dancing, but yeah. I mean, I guess it could be a form of dance.
Rocking in your seat. I'm sorry. Steve, but you touch on a bunch of fascinating things, and I think it's important for the audience to hear some serious stuff every now and again. Going back to with the painkiller thing, was that you had a doctor started you on a regimen of them after?
Yeah, back surgery, a little minor back surgery, but it was an excuse. I was already playing around with it, and then we moved to Charlotte, and I knew I was close to Florida, and I'm like, boy, if I could start looking into this, I can. It's funny. Drug addicts are very creative.
Yeah.
So it's like you would think like, well, if you could be creative and get a good job and take care of your family. No, well, we're going to get up early and get what we need before full withdrawal at noontime kicks in.
Right.
So that's why I tell people it's so much easier to do the 12 steps and clean up your life than wake up and bullshit people and find. I never was a scumbag or a thief. But I did all this while I had 3 kids at home, and I went from my band Hype was so successful that I took a 4-piece cover band, and we were making like 2,500 a night, and I salaried out I was a booking agent. I said, guys, everyone else makes 100 a man. I know that sucks, but I'll pay you guys 300 a piece. You plug in, play, and leave, and I'll take the rest. So I would leave at like $600 to $900, but I would be there and do all the work, and I'd go home. And boy, your band was great. We were stopping in for a drink, and we were going to go somewhere else, but we stayed all night. So I'll look up where they are, and until the sun comes up, I'm emailing those fans and stuff and keeping the draw going. So for years, I was able to just quit working and be an amateur drummer and take care of my 3 kids. And
Wow.
yeah. So, but as I started to get lost, my guitar player left and went to LA, and the band went down. And then my brother had died from this disease.
So
and
sorry.
then
Sorry to
a
hear
best
that.
friend of mine died from just broke his neck. And I remember I was on tour with
Jesus.
Rush, and I was going to see him, and I called him, and he answered the phone, but his phone was messed up, and he hung up, and I never got to see him because he broke his neck on a trampoline. So it was like loss
Jesus.
after loss after loss. And when you're an addict, you just start self-medicating, and then eventually,
It gives you an excuse, right?
yeah, and eventually I ruined everything. I owned a home at 19, married at 20, waited 7 years to have kids. So I didn't have to get married. But those opiates took my marriage, my family,
That's the one I've seen ruin the most lives is the opiates. It's
oh yeah.
such a draw in. And believe it or not, I mean, while there are physical addictive qualities to it, alcohol and Xanax are the ones you can't quit cold turkey. Like you need to wean off because you could stroke out or die. Even though it feels like you're going to die going through that withdrawal on heroin, I don't think anybody does.
You're right. I was in detox for 2 days, and boy, this is a funny one. So I went in on New Year's Eve because how many times, I'm going to give up drinking or whatever, and then you do a drink at midnight. Well, it's technically the first, so let's wait to the second. That's a weird day. Let's do February. And the funny thing is, had I known Live was doing that concert on New Year's Eve, I might have like driven to Pennsylvania and still been out there doing drugs. But I was like, shit. And I have ways of sneaking into whatever I want or getting past places that I'm not invited to. And
Yeah.
I mean, half the times I actually, went up to anyone in Live or even Rush before I became friends with them. When I saw my friends that worked for Rush wearing passes that had like pictures of Dennis Hopper, it didn't even say All Access on it. I'm like, I could use my old passes. And I walked anywhere I wanted with my mean face. I remember security going, "Could I help you?" I'm like, "No." I'm just going to do like this.
Nice.
So yeah, I invaded a couple of spots with you guys, but anyway, I just that those years of doing drugs and forgetting that I was a dad and everything, it got to the point where the kids would say, well, listen, we got to come to the realization that dad's gonna die.
Oh.
And because I gave up the pills because they didn't work anymore, and I was doing the heroin. And finally on New Year's Eve 2016, I said, that's it. And I actually left detox after 2 days because I was more triggered in there. I could get you dope a lot cheaper, and people were throwing it. I'm like, and everyone was mad at me, my whole family. And I went home and I white knuckled it.
Yeah, I was gonna say they probably didn't believe you that you were being tested there that way.
Yeah, but and even I, what, I don't like talking about this, but I'm gonna bring it up for the listeners that I wasn't into coke, but when you're hurting and someone's like, well, I got some coke, and I'm like, all right, I'll snort some. Oh, you can't snort it. I'm like, what do you got, crack? I'm like, I don't do crack. But when you're that low, guys, you'll do anything to take the edge off.
Yeah.
So now I'm only buying from dealers that sell heroin and crack, and it's kind of funny. I feel silly talking about all this, but I don't because I
As you
became
should
friends
not,
with
dude.
I became friends with Chad's mom when I was in Pennsylvania
Mm.
going to see Z-Man. So, but I
Oh,
mom's
mama.
sent out a few things about my sobriety where she supports me. So your mom's an awesome woman,
She's
Thank
great.
you. Yes.
and
She's
Z-Man's
awesome.
alcohol free, and we talk about that and yeah. So I in live because of live, I met so many great people. Thomas Sender, was it Fee or Phi? What's her name from Australia? I don't know how to pronounce it.
Oh
Oh
yeah, Phi
yeah.
Oats. Yeah.
Yeah, so I met her with your mom when I went to go see Chris and his band play, and of course Adam Kowalczyk, who on my 50th birthday I booked to come play a show where my kids opened up, and then his band Alo, and then my band
Uh-huh.
Hype, and then Ed showed up to support his brother,
Cool.
and yeah, so I'll tell you what, guys, none of this would have happened if I didn't clean my act up. Again, I wasn't a scumbag, but when you're not living right, you don't show up for things. And I'm happy to say that everything in my life today is fantastic. Everything with my sons is fantastic. All three of them. I just
Great.
bought a new car today. I work for a car dealership, a Subaru dealership, but I bought a convertible Mustang today.
Yes.
Sweet.
Yeah, and
Congratulations.
I'm like, I don't even need it, but I just bought it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, life is great, man. Rocky and I are picking our next trip to see the Penguins, maybe Minnesota. I don't know, but I just live life to the fullest today, and I'm single, but I'm not lonely. I date, but I won't settle. I haven't found the right one yet, and
Smart.
so music, family, sobriety, and now you guys.
Single, ready to
Cool.
mingle. I love it. And
Well, it
oh,
makes
sorry.
me happiest that you got to repair your relationship with your sons. 'Cause that's
Yeah.
most important.
Yes,
For sure.
definitely.
And you made a great point that if drug addicts can get past that addiction and that disease, and they use that energy that they had to fuel that addiction and disease, that they could do anything. Some of them have the best drive that you've seen. Like it's almost like a lot of people with that drive could potentially be drug addicts if they ever tried it. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're kind of born with that drive, and then it just leans into the addiction. But I'm glad you're using it now for the betterment of yourself and helping out your family rather than going down that slippery slope.
I think about a lot of like addict behavior. Like when a guy at work's like, dude, what happened to you? Like he's 30 and I'm 55. He's like, he got written up at work. And I'm like, can you sent off an email to the big brass? And I'm like, yep. And he's like, why? I said, notice that I didn't do what I normally do. Pause. Does it need to be said now? Does it need to be said by Steve? None of that, and I didn't pause. And he goes, well, how can you just let something go? I go, because I still come from the mind of a drug addict. I still have to work at this every day. Like my oldest son said to me when we had a small little disagreement, he goes, just because you're sober, that doesn't mean you still don't have those isms. And I go, you're right. So,
Good
and
point.
then I look back and I'm like, 126 Rush shows, eh? And about 65 live shows, and you couldn't just like the band, you had to become friends with the band, both bands. You've been to Pittsburgh 100 and like my next show 110 times, and I've been friends over the years with. I mean, we don't hang out, but Mario Lemieux is someone I became friends with, Sidney
him.
Crosby, and that's kind of like addict behavior. I know it's passion
Yeah.
too, but today I can sit back and go, so like if I'm dating someone, I could think about something, say like jealousy, and say, hey, Steve, you didn't have plans with this girl tonight. And if you're jealous because someone else took her out, don't make your problem her problem.
Yes.
Something that I couldn't do when my mind wasn't healthy. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I got to tell you this too. My youngest son, he's like, Dad, I think I got a problem. I go, well, when you drink, can you stop? He goes, not really. I've been drinking, smoking. I've done a little coke. So my 21-year-old son is 4 months clean and sober himself.
Good for him, man.
Nice.
For him.
Great.
That's
Wow.
a great age to catch yourself starting to slip too, because it just becomes such a steeper slope after a minute. You're 21, you're thinking, oh, I'm just partying and partying, but yeah, that's how
I got sober at 48. I can't. When I'm in a meeting with these young cats, I don't know how they could but God bless them. I said, if you could do it, everyone I know that got sober at that age has a fantastic life today.
Right. Right.
So I got to shut up and let you guys talk because I could talk all day.
Well, Steve, I want to ask you this.
All right.
Is your son there? Can he share like that trailer that you sent me? Because I really want the audience to see it while on the show. If he can, sometimes you got to click share and then click the little share with sound button at the bottom left.
So I have to ask Rocky because Kevin was like, I got a meeting with a Hollywood exec about this movie at the same time as the podcast. I'm like,
Oh,
well,
wow.
I'm going to go on without you, but Rocky's here. Let me throw the cans on Rock and see if he can answer that. Hold on a second.
Sure.
What is up, gentlemen? Yeah, so I did not hear any of
What's
that
up?
question because he's got the headphones on. So yeah, but yeah, good to be here. What's up?
Good to have you on, man. Thanks for setting up your dad.
Of course.
If you could please share some of the trailers that you and your brother made, or your, I'm not sure who
Oh
made.
yeah.
Yeah. And then if you could click that little share, I think when you go to share, it'll say at the bottom left.
Yeah, I know how to do it. I got you.
Perfect. Thank
All
you.
right, cool.
Cool.
Yeah, just keep some conversation flowing because I'm gonna have to like send myself a link from my phone because the main
Gotcha.
movie that we're working on right now, the trailer's not out, and we don't have anything out yet because we gotta wait for copywriting and film festivals to approve it because they do they want world premieres, so they don't really like posting any of it. But this is fine
Oh,
to
yeah.
share it on here. So yeah, just run some conversation and I'll get that set up.
Absolutely. So that's exciting. Again, audience, you're in for a treat. These Savos got some beautiful production, beautiful acting, well written. It's put together great. To see it, for an independent release and stuff like that. I mean, it doesn't get much better than this. And I'm a big critic when it comes to watching stuff like this. Held my attention. This made me interested. So we're in for a treat. And we could have posted the link afterwards, but I think it's fun to do on the show and like comment as we're going. Steve, I love the shirt, man. Is that a new live shirt or is that from old school?
All right. So I don't know if it's the age or the drugs, but sometimes my memory shot.
Sure.
It's fairly new off the site.
Okay.
So
Mhm.
I saw what's going on now and from Front Row recently, and
Sweet.
because I'm such a supporter of Chad's, I was like, but I was entertained, and it was really cool that when the lights went up, Ed saw me and he walked right up and shook my hand, said, "Hey, Steve,
wow.
thanks for coming here." And
Nice.
then he started the show. And then when it ended, he did it again. And that meant the world to me because for years watching him, and even though I'm a drummer, I love frontmen. My son Kevin, when he was little, he's like, "Boy, you look at Ed and he knows who you are," but I go, he's one of those guys that gets into his music so much, like that crazy guitar player that just feels that he doesn't really see anyone.
Right.
But I guess as we get older, you just get more humble and you're glad people are there. So that was awesome. Zach Lloyd's a friend, and I love him. And listen, everyone did a good job. And I don't really want to get into stuff that's none of my business. Hopefully somewhere down the line I could see Chad jam with them, but that's something that you guys could discuss. I do want to bring up something real quick. Chad, do you remember that last show from Springfield? I think it was one of the last shows you guys played together. It was Springfield, Massachusetts.
Not off the top of my head, but
I love it. You played so many shows. It's great. Anyway, I remember talking to you and I asked you if those sticks were exclusive to you. And you're like, no, you should try them because I would either wrap my ProMark 747s. I used like Neil Peart sticks and I'd get cramps and they'd fly out of my hands. And after 30 years, I switched to those sticks and they're awesome.
freaking awesome. They're great. Yeah.
They really are. And I don't really like change, but I kind of was like, listen, you need that because it helps you. There's nothing worse than sticks flying out of your hand.
Yeah.
Can we grab and recover? Absolutely. But
Yeah, that was like a game changer for me when I discovered those. ProMark started making them. I guess it's called Active Grip or something like that. But and conveniently, it's cool in black. So I was like, yeah, black sticks, and they just kind of mold to your hand once they get a little warm.
I thought it was going to ruin the symbols and like leave black marks, but they didn't.
Nah, it doesn't.
Yeah, and I don't know if I would play barefoot though because that's a little crazy.
That's how I grew up. But it's funny, like my whole career, like I wouldn't wash my hands all day because if I washed my hands, it would get slippery.
Yeah.
I'd go on stage and my hands would get tired because they were slipping out of my hands.
Oh, wow.
And so I would never wash my hands. But now, I can wash my hands.
I'm
They're
thinking
not
about,
all dirty.
I'm thinking about all the times I shook your hands now.
That's
I'm
right.
like,
They
oh
were never
God.
washed.
Yeah. What was left on those?
I mean, it was like that wasn't all day, but like
I
a
got
few hours before the show at least. So it was, you just build up natural oils and stuff,
right.
which should help you, grip the sticks. But yeah, that's a game changer for me. Loved it.
Steve, have you I'm sure you have because you did Lightning Crashes in that one tune, but what is one of the harder songs you covered that Chad wrote on the drums?
I remember, I think, saying to him, that rotating thing you do with the ride and the snare and everything on was it Shit Town? I could never do.
Oh yeah.
You're really fluent with your hand. Like the funny thing is, I never learned any basic rudiments, so I'm like,
Me
man,
either.
yeah, but you're this like even on like Ghost, like I kind of got to do different things than you do to get the same sound. Like my right now, we just and I used to play it. We learned Lucchini's Juice. I haven't played it in years, and I'm like playing it, and I'm like that part where you go up to the tom, and I'm just like, and then I know you. I'm not a big guy who likes to ride on a crash, and then
Yeah.
so I say to myself, I'm like, dude, nobody notices certain things that aren't. I don't have to play it exactly like any of the drummers, and I've watched you do
Sure.
covers as well. And then it just makes my life easier when I back away from that. But when bands like I play some Rush in front of a crowd, not much, but like everyone's gonna stand there like this, all the drummers, and I don't need
Oh
that
yeah.
kind of criticism.
Right.
So I saw an old video of me playing Iris, which is a great fun song to play.
Sweet.
My favorite way to play is two hands on the hi-hat and rotate that way. I love and we talked about backstage one day about playing Pain. And I'm like, dude, I go and borrow a maraca, and then I'm like, I don't think anyone can hear it. It looks cool. And I'm like, how do you get the mic? He goes, oh, there's a little mic in it.
Yeah, Mike, there's a little mic on it. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
mic on it, right?
Yeah.
So, I'm like, here I am doing it, and I got my youngest son holding a mic to it. I'm like, that just gets rid of the coolness of the whole thing, right?
Right.
So, but so that's the first song I ever heard. It was 1990. I think, I don't know, I think I was 20, and I heard Pain Lies on the Riverside. And honestly, it was Patrick's bass that made me go, yeah, who's this?
Yeah.
And of course, the bands I started playing with, you got to have a good bass player to play that. And but Patrick's certainly no slouch. I think he's a great bass player.
Absolutely.
And funny enough, my singer, I went to see a band playing. I'm like, oh my God, this dude's playing some live. And I go, I thought I was the only one. So I introduced myself, and then I eventually stole him from his band.
Nice.
So just like Rush, I've met so many lifelong friends, 20, 30-year friendships because of your band.
Wow.
And because of, I mean, but like music brings people together, right? It's so just like sporting events, but there's something special about music. And but yeah, and I do get my balls broken sometimes with some of the crazier drummers that are into like thrash and just heavy stuff. What's so special about this Gracey dude? And I'm like, I just like how solid he is, man. And
Right.
and you probably don't remember because you see a lot of nut jobs like me, but on the Distance to Here tour, I sat in the front row with my bandmates, and I went and made up a shirt, and it says Gracey's God on it.
Oh, cool.
I remember Taylor
Nice.
looking at it, and he's pointing, he turns, and you're like nodding your head like, I see him. So I don't know. I
appreciate that.
yeah, and it's a little over the top, but yeah, again, like I love Neil Peart, and I could play some of his stuff, but I identify with you a lot more. And I don't know, and the coolest part about live is I loved every member and everything they represented.
Yeah.
And just like the fans too, I took the highs and lows, with you guys. I'm like, oh damn,
Mhm.
I'd love to. Like, how lucky was I to have Rush for 4 decades, up until Neil's death, all
Yeah.
19 studio albums. I was so
Amazing.
damn lucky. And
Mhm.
and then I think the last time I actually was at a concert with all 3 of my sons was at Jones Beach, when you guys were with Our Lady Peace and Bush.
Yeah.
And I remember taking a picture, and I told Dad, I go, I'm so used to being up front that as an older man, I like being in the last row. So we went to the last row, especially in that play. I know it's still considered a shed, but it doesn't have a roof. And I just love looking at the production. And I took a
Mhm.
picture of me and my boys, and I put it on Facebook, and I love changing the lyrics to Lucchini's. It was an evening I spent with my sons.
Nice. That's cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very
So yeah. So Rock, are you ready to put that on? All right. So you want to so I'm going to slide it back over to Rocky.
Sweet. Rocky.
What is up? Okay. So I gotta lean over because the setup's a little odd on the computer.
You want to answer this, Rocky? Let the audience know what we're about to watch.
Yeah. So before I screen share, so my brothers and I have 2 feature films under our belt. We used our first one called The Opener as like resume material. We did it on our own budget, doing 9 to 5s, and I think we made the whole movie on $3,000 or $4,000. And we used this movie to send out to possible investors and try to bring in an investment for another film. And then we got a $50,000 investment for a film that we wanted to go horror, because horror is the easiest industry to sell a film in for independent films. Horror sells independently like crazy. So we made a film about an Uber driver that kills people in the
Nice.
same way
Nice.
that in the
That
same way
sounded
that The
great.
Ring target, like The Ring made you scared of the TV. It made like a real life thing scary to people.
Mhm.
And I guess our target audience for this is to scare is like college girls. So all they do is they go out to the bars and they get in Ubers and they're tanked. And there's been some stories in the news about it. So basically, there's a Uber driver that is killing people, and then my brother Kevin, who's also my brother in the movie, he works a job he hates. He's an Uber driver, and he gets pinned for all these murders because they don't know what's going on. The movie is called Rerouting, and it is going to be coming out in 2023. So
Very
I
cool.
love it.
I love
And
it.
for those who don't know, Rocky owns Lyft, so that's why it's an Uber driver and not a Lyft driver.
yeah. So let me screen share real quick.
Dude, that's a great idea, and I guess it
Absolutely.
makes sense.
It's awesome.
Yeah, totally awesome. I guess it makes sense too that the horror genre is an easier one to break into.
Well, the whole time we're growing up, we're told, don't go with hitchhikers. Now, like that's just commonplace.
That's
to get
literally
some
what we do
stranger's
all the
car.
time now, right?
Right.
Yep.
All right, so let me get this full screen for everybody. Can you guys see it? All
Yes, sir.
Yes.
right, I'm gonna see if I can go like that. If you guys can see, you still see it?
Yes, sir.
And then audio should be good. This is our rerouting trailer.
Awesome.
Can you guys hear it?
I don't have sound.
Yeah, let me see if it's not through here. Screen sharing now, share audio?
It's possible. You want me to stop the share and then you try that out?
Anything yet or no?
No, it was no sound
No
again.
sound.
I tried
That's
to
odd.
so you could reshare and click that sound button if that was the case. We always have issues with it, so it's probably on a different end. Oh wait,
Anything yet
try
or
it one
no?
more time. No, it was no sound again.
No sound.
I tried
That's
to
odd.
sound
I
button.
think it's probably just a Zoom thing, because I don't know if Zoom's able to share audio through a feed unless I can change the mic real quick. Input, built-in microphone, internal microphone.
I think it's my soundboard. I have a chat way to have the sound come through, and then the USB to way to sound come through. But for some reason, when I turn up the chat only, it
Input.
starts showing our. Wait a second
I
here.
just changed my microphone, so let me try one more time. If it doesn't play, then you can try what you're trying. Input.
I think I figured it out there, Rocky. I got something playing audio. Let me try this, and then you should be able to.
Okay.
Yeah, now we should be able to hear it. Click play. I'm sorry.
Any audio? Nothing?
No audio.
No.
Yeah, it's all right.
All right, audience. That's my bad.
If you guys want, you can just look up rerouting on we're pushing it a lot on TikTok and on our social medias. If you want to go to any of our social medias, Rocky Savo, Kevin Savo, on Instagram, Facebook, any of those platforms, you can check it out. Sorry we couldn't play it for you today, but yeah, worked our tails off on it, and it's supposed to be coming out in 2023.
And that is my fault, audience. I will, and you know what I'll do, Rocky? I'll post links on our social so people could check it out too. Because I'm telling you guys, these gentlemen really are onto something. I wouldn't just say that to you. You know, I don't bullshit, even though we do put the shit in bullshit. I was really impressed. It looked professional. It looked like it was done by, with a big budget. And the actors, I was very, I guess, surprised that you found independent actors that were that good. So it's definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, we did some casting in New York, and we had a casting agent come in because with the bigger budget, we were able to do more. But yeah, the process came together. We were able to bring in actors from California, North Carolina, New York, and I think one was from like Philadelphia or something. But
Nice.
the casting came together really great, and the experience we had from that first film definitely like carried over into making this one what it was.
Nice.
And it could only get better
awesome.
from here, man. Congrats on that.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
What
so-
are you on Instagram, Rocky?
It's Rocky, ROCKY, Savo, SAVO 51.
Oh, 5-1.
What's the 5-1?
That is my hockey number, and that's the number that he wore when he played hockey. So
Nice. Like father, like son. Rock on,
There
dude.
he is. I'm following. Cool.
There
Appreciate
you go. The Chad Gracey is following you. Just remember hashtag Chad Gracey.
Hey.
yeah, it's crazy.
The Chad Gracey. Was Chad Gracey taken, Chad, and you went with the Chad Gracey, or was that just your original thought?
I don't know. That Chad Gracey might. I don't remember.
Who has?
I kind of copied. I kind of copied Matt. Matt from Soundgarden. He's the Matt. Well, what is his last name? I can't remember his last name.
Not
Damn it.
Matt Cameron's from Pearl.
Matt Cameron. Thank you. Yeah, he was the Matt Cameron. I'm like, I'm the Chad Gracey. Okay.
I love it, dude. Who has cooler initials than you? CAG or Cage or how CAG? Those are like legendary.
Yes, CAG.
CAG.
Put it on the sticks.
Yes. Steve, my apologies about that. That I couldn't pull up those videos, but he sent me a bunch of he's got pictures with you, Chad, from back in the day, pictures with Ed. I think he was at an Adam Kowalczyk show. What was that band? Was it Allo or Allow?
Adam.
Hello. Adam said he got that from by mixing letters in his last name. I think he went back to Adam and the Weight though, but
Steve,
yeah, Adam and I, we become good friends and
Second closer. I changed your mic. I figured it out, by the way, if you guys want to try one more time, but I'll let him get on the mic.
Let's do it.
Try one more time.
Try one more time. Yeah, there's a little button that
Why
says
not?
share audio with screen. Share sound. Okay, I got it.
Beauty.
Cool. I knew there was something. A little quick Google look. Password PITTS.
Beautiful. See, I told you, audience, we would figure it out one day. We just needed the one and only Rocky.
just like when we get there, that's when we made it.
All right, let me know if this worked.
Yes, sir. Yes.
There you go.
Two women reported missing by their families. Both use a rideshare app to call for a ride home, and both had the same driver.
No. It isn't your job to come here and talk to the family, right?
I don't want them hearing this from you.
Did you hear about those girls?
Yeah, I seen the missing posters, if that's what you're talking about, but it's about all I know.
I can't even remember the last time I saw you in the daylight.
You driving tonight?
All you do is drive. Come back to bed for a few hours, and then you can drive.
Oh boy.
Is there a problem?
Get out the car.
I didn't do anything. I was driving the speed limit.
Shut up and let him do his job.
I drive for an app. I spent all night picking people up where...
Have you lost your mind?
I haven't lost my mind. I'm being framed. We need this whole town resting a lot easier than what's taking place right now.
There's a killer out there. Some sick fuck snatching up girls in the middle of the night.
You try not to get emotionally involved. But that's like fooling yourself into thinking that you're human.
What?
One more scene.
Sir, can you please pull over the car?
Dude,
Nice. That's great.
that is sick,
Wow.
bro. I mean, am I correct here, audience? For those out there, that is absolutely phenomenal. That trailer, the soundtrack to it, the acting. That guy, that Uber driver, is creepy as fuck, man. That is filmed
Good
so
actor,
good.
though.
I'm impressed. Oh yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sure he's
really
cool in
great.
life.
Oh, thank you so much.
Dude, you
So,
should.
John, I think somewhere down the road you should probably like have Kevin on because like I'm disappointed he's in the other room, but
Absolutely.
you could probably do a whole show with him and not just about movies because Kevin's got a million shows, stories about being on the road with me, live shows, Rush shows, Iron Maiden. See, I mean, he's in Guitar World magazine with Van Halen when we were with Van Halen for a week.
Rock on.
Yeah, so somewhere down the line when you need a guest.
Yeah, we're down to have him on. We're down to have the brothers on together, both on separately. I'm down with the Savo family for sure. I'm a fan.
Kev Rock Entertainment is a company I started when Kevin and Rocky were first born. So I was going to name Mark when he was born Roll, so it could be Kev Rock and Roll. But my wife said we're not naming him Roll.
Nice.
So then, when I kind of like lost my way and wasn't doing anything as a booking agent, they took the name and got an LLC together, and now Kev Rock Entertainment is more of a movie production company and whatever they want it to be.
The production.
And now, what's cool is
I
watch from a distance now. I'm glad I'm not that stage dad who gets in the way because I'm just thrilled to be alive and just watch them work.
I was gonna say, don't get in their way, man. They are creatively on point right now. So let them rock and roll, not to use.
Yeah, they figured out he figured out the audio, so I can't mess with that, right?
Thank you for that, Rocky. But yeah, Rock, I mean, we would love to have you and your brother on again. If Kevin wants to come on by himself solo, that's fine too. But we'd love to have you both on.
Yeah, we would love to. And Kev can definitely talk about drumming too, because he's the only one out of the sons that like took drumming from him. And because I got the hockey from him, and my little brother just does whatever the fuck he does. But basically, I don't even think he's told you. So when we were doing hip hop, we would do shows that would be like tied into his shows early on, and like no older rock band really wants to hear our kind of style of music, and it wasn't like anything like super bad or whatever the case may be.
Right.
But he really liked the fact that he can go out and do shows like he did. He's starting a cover band right now where he's drumming, and all they're gonna do is like tailor to like the female market. So they're just gonna really rockify like every like famous like chick song, I guess.
Taylor Swift.
So, but no, literally, but like that's his play, and it's gonna be him and like 3 other girls, and he's killing it. He's been rehearsing around. Yeah.
Another brilliant idea. Him and 3 hot girls doing chick songs. Let's go. I'm a fan already. Yeah. I'm coming. Have them play in a bikini. I'm really even there more. Including your brother. Make sure he's in bikini too, because
there you go. Absolutely.
So Kev's been on stage. Yeah, he would probably do it. Kevin's been on stage with me since he was 9. I used to sing one song, and my singer would play the drums. I would do like Rock and Roll All Night from Kiss, and it was more of a novelty. Like, oh, the chubby drummer's gonna get up and sing. Let me hold my piss and not go to the bathroom and watch Steve because he's a clown. And it turned into something fun. And Kevin at 9 years old, and so it was like 9 and 10 and 12. He was never had any stage fright. And next thing you know, the kid's like, I remember I grounded him from singing once. And I hear him in his bedroom, and I walk back in, and he's got this Casio keyboard, and he's playing Angry Young Man from Billy Joel.
Wow.
And that's not an easy song to play on keyboard.
Wow. No.
So he's singing, Steve. Are you like just wrapped up his mouth, cut off his tongue? How do you stop somebody from singing?
Well, it was weird. I would take him out to the bar and let him do karaoke, and a place would like go nuts. And it took 45 minutes for us to leave because all people was like, oh, what do you want, a picture? He's like 10, 11 years old, taking pictures, signing autographs, doing karaoke. And I'm like, look, man, I look like an idiot father here. I'm like, it's getting close to 12 o'clock. I got to get him out of here. And the guy's like, oh, no, man. We let him do the second song late towards the end of the night. So you're anchoring the talent, and he's freaking 10 years old. I look like a jerk. If you're going to do that, give him half your money.
Oh, that's
So I only did that. I only did that, guys, because I wanted to see, well, if you're going to come back to Connecticut, because we were living in Charlotte, and I was doing a once a year holiday show at Hype. Do you have good stage presence? You're going to be afraid. and he didn't. He goes, "This is wireless," and he's walking through the crowd, and
nice.
yeah, it's just totally amazing. And then as far as filming, he's been playing with video cameras and filming and editing since he was like 4 years old. And yeah, I mean, I'm amazed at these guys, and it just in every aspect. And then Rocky, like, you know, the fact that he played, I was a decent hockey player, but this guy's like, you know, a star. Now he got his little brother involved.
Cool.
You know, who's, you know, he's cleaning his act up. He's like, Mark, why don't you need a hobby? Come play hockey. And we'd fly back from a trip, and he's like, I got to make my game. I'm like, take a night off. He doesn't take a night off, and it's just a men's league, but these kids are passionate about everything, man. And even to be like available today to be with me today, you know.
Well, Dad, you gotta be proud, because I believe that comes a lot from the parents, where the kids learn to be passionate and things of that nature. So you should be a proud father.
That's 100% true. Like, I was talking about that last night with my youngest brother. We were talking about how he kind of just spawned 3 mini hymns, and each one of the kids has one of his like hobby traits, whether it's like, and even the film thing, he doesn't talk much about. Like, regardless of what he was doing when we were younger, like, he put us on to so many good, like, older films like Shawshank and all the Rockies and Goodfellas and all those things. And that bled into the oldest, who's the writer. It bled into him so much. And like, that was his like, for me, it's hockey. That was his hockey before he got into like music making and stuff. Would you like to come say hi, Kev?
Look who just walked in the room.
Oh, got Kev. Sweet.
Kevin Savo. Say hello to Chad and
There he is.
JRo.
What's up, man?
Chad, what's
How are
going
you?
on, brother? How are you? JRo, what's happening? Sorry, guys.
Good.
I was just, I literally just, how are you guys listening to him through this?
Hey, we just saw your rerouting trailer, dude. So good on your part, but wow, is that?
Thank you so much. I just spent the last hour on the phone with the producers in London, submitting it to a bunch of film festivals. So we just submitted to 6. We're hoping it's a good 2024 season.
If there's movies out there that can compete with that on an independent level, dude, I would be floored, because I'm in. I'm all in. I want to see that movie like yesterday. It looks great. The premise is amazing. The Uber driver, fucking, I think I'm gonna have nightmares thinking of that dude tonight.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. We gave it our all with that one. It took the majority of 2023. It was only a 12-day shoot, so we did that entire thing in 12 days.
Wow.
But it was split into 2 separate units, and between pre-production, post-production, and then almost like losing our houses and our cars and like all our most valuable possessions, because you always lose money on a film. You make money immediately in advertising, but you always have to lose to make a film. It just consumed the entire year. But all that teaches you a lot. Teaches you patience, and it teaches you not to prejudge your own product or your own determination or anything, because the motive for film, and it might be similar with music, honestly. You have to have a delusional belief in yourself, but at the same time, you have to know that, you know, to the, certainly to Hollywood, which we operate outside of, but to the business, you ain't shit. You ain't shit until you're pre-selected by the audience. So it's kind of like, as long as you know that, you never stop trying, basically.
Well put, man.
100%. Yep. It's awesome.
I'm gonna say that if this doesn't like incite an audience and really gather you fans, I'm not sure what will, because it just looks so, you know, well done, well put together. When you say
yeah, basically, I'll kill myself. Basically, that's
when you said 2 units going on once. Did you mean, like, in other words, there was 2 separate film crews filming on the same days? Is that I wasn't clear with that.
No, that's it. Very perceptive. No, that's just kind of like our nickname for it. Is our producer early on was like, you know, there's a lot of things we're gonna let second unit handle, and we're all looking at each other like, we don't have a second unit. So we were the second unit too. No, it was really just split into 2 shoots, and one prioritized all the driving, because you don't drive in movies. If you had a real budget, you know, you would never put the 2 leads in a car with the DP and drive around, because it's extremely dangerous. But when you have, you know, only $50,000 to work with, that's what you do. So it's a little risky, and you gotta prioritize one at a time. One is more acting, and one is more action oriented, even though we didn't have people that specialize in action, which would kind of be the second unit directors and things like that.
Right. So in those pro films, they'd probably be on in a car with a green screen behind them, with them like kind of mechanically moving the car to make it look real. But you guys have to deal with like real driving scenarios and making sure the shots blend together, and you're not, you know, cutting and editing to where like, oh, that doesn't look right, but this driving scenes look great from the trailer.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. If you don't have big money and you don't have a studio, a green screen driving scene looks horrible.
Right.
So there's no reason to even attempt it, to do green screen ourselves with the kind of money we have. It just looked terrible. So we were like, let's just do the damn thing. Let's go drive around. And it also gives the audience a chance to kind of feel like you're in the car. And so then you get to play with things like we're two Uber drivers. Like I'm the dude that's not, my identity is not like an Uber driver. I'm just like the dude that's driving Uber to try to make money. And Christ, I shouldn't even be saying Uber. I'm a ride share driver. And so then you get to play with things like the lighting is very routine in my car because you feel like it's a public transportation service, and then everything's very like kind of grim and dreary in the killer's car. You get to play with things like that.
Well thought out, dude. That is so. I made a joke earlier because your brother was saying Uber driver too. I said, by the way, the Savo's own Lyft. That's why they're saying Uber. Because they own Lyft.
Oh my goodness!
But no,
I keep forgetting not to say that. But it's tough because who says ride share? That's technically what it is. It's a ride share service, but nobody says, "Oh, I'm going to go ahead and call a ride share." So it's tough. Did we talk about everybody's favorite live songs?
No, talk about
please.
Talk about that.
We didn't get into that.
Going to see the band and
going to see the band was always great.
we talked about early ages with Rush, and you came on the road, and then live, and
yeah, no, we had a lot of cool experiences with live. We saw Ed. I saw Ed solo a couple of times, and then probably saw live just as many times. And I have a lot of good memories of going to see live. There was also a lot of the venues that we saw live in were pretty like up close and personal.
Nice,
like really packed rooms, but up close and personal. So you always felt like, and then there was even one time we were so up close that Ed like called out to me in the crowd because I was really young.
He was talking about, I think when he wrote Heaven, which he said
cool.
Writing about it for his daughters, and he goes, there's some young people, and then there's Kay. What's up, Kevin?
Nice.
Kevin got a lot of love. Like Getty and Alex would come up to the front and nod, and we're standing in front, and Neil would like send his guy over to give Kevin some drumsticks. And I'm like, listen, Neil doesn't say hi to no one, not even his wife, but I want you to nod and say thank you. He says thank you. And Neil like mouths, you're welcome. And the whole front row was like, oh my God, Neil Pearson.
That's crazy.
The singer from Journey would hop down and give him a fist pump. ZZ Top. But the best one, I think, is when we spent like a half a week with Van Halen, and we got to talk to Wolfgang, and then all of a sudden Kevin's like, holy crap. I'm like, don't even tell me that picture they took is in Guitar World magazine. And there it is. There's Eddie and Wolfie on the cover. And then you open up, you think Dave's back in the band. It'd be Dave. And no, it's Eddie, it's Wolfie, and there's Kevin. And me holding the fans back, holding a sign that says, Wolfie, you rock. And yeah, I mean, and even again, when he became friends with Neil, like he was probably closer to Neil Peart than I was, because, like he just, I taught them well. When they were backstage, they didn't like get in the way. And he went up to Alex one time. He's like, hey, Alex, can you sign this shirt that Getty gave me? And he signed it. He's like, yeah, sure, Kev. He goes, I see you're talking to your friends. I'll talk to you another time. I think Kevin was 9 when he said it. Like just a lot of manners. Hey, listen, the best thing for any of us, as parents is, well, I saw your kid the other day, what such great manners. What an awesome young man, or what a polite human being. Yep. Yeah, be a prick behind the scenes with Dad, but just out in public, just be a good person.
Right.
Exactly.
And I'm lucky. I'm very, very lucky. I'm very blessed.
Well, Kevin, Rocky, we want to have actually you guys on, minus Dad at one point. When is Rerouting coming out? Or when is it going? I guess, when is it going to festivals, or when is it released for the public?
We're not going to know for a little bit right now. We're going to see which festival takes it first and kind of go from there. There's a little bit of interest from the industry, but it's like we made it through the first leg of all the struggles of making a film. And then this is like the second leg, like who wants to show it, who wants to buy it. I kind of feel like Eddie Murphy when he was playing Dolomite, because he got through the first Dolomite movie, and then they were like, well, what's going on with it? And nobody wants to show the motherfucker now. It's yeah. Then you get to that next part, like who the hell wants to show it? Who wants to buy it? But I mean, no, there's a lot of interest, and people are excited about it, and they dig it. We heard some good things from HBO. We heard some good things from. I mean, also it does have Nick Thurlow is an Academy Award winning producer. He's the producer of Moonlight and many others, and his name is on it. So that was like that first piece of needed pre-selection that I sometimes I think I'm the only like indie filmmaker that wants to be honest about like till you're pre-selected by somebody who's done great things. It's your film's not looking great. So you and your buddies can't just be like, hey, we think it's great. So that was like the first credit that went on the film that was like, okay, we got something here. And now we just we just got to see who's going to take it and show it first. And it's kind of probably going to be a touch and go process most of the first half of 2024. And then that's tough because you don't want to like lose people's excitement when you can't be like, you can watch it and check it out right now. But we got to see which direction is best for the for the film to put it in front of the right audience.
Awesome. Well, we'll stay in touch throughout the process, and whenever you guys want to come on when it makes sense to promote and stuff like that, we'll do that. But why don't we end with
absolutely.
Yeah. Why don't we end with all three Savos telling us their favorite live song? Or
go ahead.
I guess is going first. My favorite's definitely Operation Spirit.
Nice. Heavy drums.
Beginning.
Yes.
I like playing that song live too, because not a lot of people want to do that. But.
So what's interesting about my favorite live song is it feels like it's technically a hit, but it's not, but it is. I don't get it, but it's Simple Creed.
Ooh,
nice.
Because let me just explain something real quick about like certain things either coming out when you're really young or before you were born. You can't figure out sometimes like what the impression or the status of one of your favorite songs is when it didn't come out during your prime. You know what I mean? Like if it came out before you were born or when you were young. So like I would go back and check out the music video for that, and I'm like, I can't tell, was this like the shit at the time, or was it overshadowed by the bigger hits, or I don't know, but all I know is that song fucking kicks ass. That's like my favorite. And that live record, this is always the great thing about live. You have to say live, the band had a live record.
Right.
That
confusing
record that was recorded live.
Phenomenal. Paradiso. Yes.
Oh, live with Paradiso,
opened with that.
Yeah.
And that's dope. So I listened to the live version of that a lot too.
Cool.
The video for Simple Creed is funny, right? Ed's growing out his hair. It's kind of froed out at that point. It's not one of
it is so strange to see him with hair.
Yes.
Totally.
I don't know
that was
if
his
I have
last ditch to grow out his hair.
I don't know if I have a favorite song. I have a favorite album, and I always catch shit for it on the sites. Five's my favorite live album.
Which one?
Five?
I don't know why.
Oh,
yeah.
Can I talk? That's a great thing you brought up, dude, because Transmit Your Love on there is ridiculous. Right?
Yes.
Hero of Love.
That's one of my favorite songs.
Oh my God. There's like a weird part in on one of the songs where Ed starts rapping, but that's the only lull in the album. Besides that, I'm like, this is a great album.
Instead of picking a favorite song, but let's also talk about Birds of Prey. Is so underrated. What a phenomenal record. Sure. One of Kevin's first film things, he was like 14. He did a documentary of me living in Charlotte and Johnny Lovebone, our guitar player, that was his nickname, living in LA when Hype just did Christmas shows because we were all scattered all over the place. And he would film us driving from Charlotte and God, I forget the damn song. Life Marches On.
Yeah.
And he did it in his documentary. I'll send it to you down the road where he sped up the traffic and everything and to that. But I mean, this is what I love about my son. So we're driving there and we go through Richmond, Virginia, and you see the lights on the buildings at Christmas time. And it's a real somber moment. And he uses from Big Generator. Yes. Aim high, shoot low. I mean, this is what I think. This is part of my influence on my kids with music, where certain moments, right? And then when we get to Connecticut, we're rushing to the gig, and everybody makes fun of Dad because it's like, oh, hurry up, we gotta get on the stage, we gotta get out of my way. And people are like, what's wrong with Steve? He's like, he's fine until the sound check's over and everything's done. Then he'll turn into a different guy. But I've learned to mellow out a little bit because I pretty much run the show. But and then I'll tell you what, guys, I don't care what the backstory is. And I was talking to Adam about this. Black Mountain's got some gems on it too. Like I'd love to play Sophia in front of a crowd, but I'm one of those weirdos that I'll pick all these songs and my band's got to be like, look, man, no one knows that song.
Hold up. Yeah. I was just about to say the same thing. So Life Marches On is neck and neck with Simple Creed for me. And also I'm working with a band right now and it's the same thing. Every live song I'd want to play might veer more on the side of, if it's not a non-hit, it's not like one of the top fives.
Right.
But that's how it is when you're really into a band. And I don't know if you guys are short on time, but I'll just like wrap up with this point because of what he said made me think of this. When you're really a fan of music and when you're really a fan of like, you know, a particular band, you're almost like a nerd or you're a casual music listener. Right. And I hate to veer on the side of being a nerd, but that's also the kind of music fan I've always been. So I can't, if live comes up in a discussion, I can't only talk about, you know, I can't only talk about I Alone.
Right.
You know, I can't only talk about.
I will never play that song again on stage. I can't take
it.
How amazing is Wings off of Birds of Prey in concert, especially? I mean, fucking phenomenal.
I see. That's where my life started getting fuzzy. Do you remember a place called the Ram's Head in Maryland, Chad?
Yeah, in Baltimore. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So God, this is one of my low points, but so I was definitely on drugs and I went there and they wouldn't let Kevin in. And I guess for good reason, but luckily I had another adult to where a normal father would be like, they won't let your son in. All right, fine. You're not going to go to the show.
Nah, we got in a fight.
Well, I got into a fight with the guard and I was being a jerk because I locked the keys in my and I'm out there screaming and yelling. And I remember talking to everybody in the band except for you, I think, and except for Ed, and Adam was outside and, hey, help me out, man. Just bring my son backstage and I'll collect him after the show. Just sneak him in through the back. And long story short, they wouldn't do it. And the biggest guard there was being such a jerk that the first note of the opening song, he walked up, he goes, remember me? And he picks me up and carries me out of the gig. And I missed it. And I was pissed. I was acting like the cops were called. I didn't get arrested, thank God. But
you never heard the story.
You didn't hear it?
No, that was in Baltimore.
It was in Baltimore. It was horrible. And, you know, just again, part of the drugs were like, you know what? Okay, today I'd be like, oh, that sucked. See you later. But ego, everything. Like, well, you know, I know these guys in the band and they'll be able to, and I could do this. And in this city, I could do it. But you know what? Wake up, dude. You're on drugs. You know?
Hey, real quick. I can tell you guys are trying to wrap it up. I'm sorry I entered late. I've been handling business all day. But
it's all good, man.
But real quick, Chad, even though you're your own man and you're your own musician, like most musicians, who's the one drummer that, like, even at your age and your stage in the game, you never can quite stop aspiring to want to, like, every time you hear a solo or you hear a song or you see a performance, you're like, fuck, that's still like the thing you aim for? Because I think we all have that as musicians.
I mean, Dave Grohl.
Oh, really?
Not on Nirvana necessarily, but like the stuff he did with like Queens of the Stone Age or Them Crooked Vultures, like those records, the stuff he plays on those records are just fucking phenomenal.
So he's that dude for you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and he became more of that in the later years. Before it was kind of Matt Cameron. It's still kind of is Matt Cameron. I mean, the stuff that he with Soundgarden is just out of this world. But I got more into Dave Grohl's drumming as I got older, and yeah, just especially from Them Crooked Vultures and Queens of the Stone Age record he played on.
But what about the guy that inspired you to put that tom under your hi-hat?
That's good old Larry Mullins. I mean, yes, he's Larry Mullins Jr. Love him. He's always he's my main man. I've never met him though. I've met everybody in U2 except for him.
And then what's your favorite song to play live?
My favorite song to play live, it's either between White Discussion, Lakini's Juice, are definitely the ones my faves to play.
The Hardys, the Rockin'.
Yeah, good dig in.
Savos, can you tell the audience where they could find everything you want them to know about, whether it's your personal social medias, websites, anything? Because I want the audience to know and be able to check you guys out until we have you on again.
I'm Kevin Savo, Kevin Savo _ on Instagram. And man, I'll let Rock take this because I've been online so long. If you just Google my name, I don't even know what comes up anymore. It's just like a plethora of all the years of just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. The short films, The Adventures of Savo, where I'm actually saving hoes at almost 28 years old.
That's what I want JRo to be on. He's going to come to Connecticut. You're going to be in the next one.
All right, yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, Rock.
Yeah, Rocky.
We slide in. All right. So basically we do so much that kind of directing people in so many different directions is kind of a pain at this point. So I think for a platform like this, if you guys wanted to follow us on any social media that's like Facebook or Instagram or anything like that, either Rocky or Kevin Savo, you will see us post everything we're doing. We own 2 companies. We got the film going on. We have an NFT project and a whole bunch of stuff, music, everything like that. So my Instagram's Rocky, ROCKY, Savo, SAVO 51. And Kevin's is Kevin Savo _ and then the youngest brother, he's still getting his content up. But yeah, you can find us on any streaming, any social media platform under those names.
And we're looking for investors to buy the movie or somehow get involved so it can be released, correct?
Distribution, but that'll be after it gets a little bit of hype in film festivals. It's just tough to get people to buy stuff until it's been seen.
Sure.
But yeah, eventually, hopefully, just looking for the right thing at the right time for the right audience.
Well, for anybody out
Very
there,
cool.
this could be a way to get in on the ground floor with some future Scorsese directors style, or whatever good directors are out there. So
hey, appreciate it, man. Hey, all I could say is it's tough, man. People don't want to throw money at stuff, but at the same time, you need guys that can do a lot with a little bit of money, and we had to become that way, and so we're pretty good at it now. You give us a little bit of money, we could do more with it than most cats can, I think.
Elon, if you're listening, send some of those millions over here. Well, you got billions. Come on now. 1 million.
Kill off 1 million. There you go.
Yes. Steve, could you say goodbye to the audience? We'd love having you guys on again. We're
absolutely great. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for being so honest, Steve. I want to just commend you on where you were in life, where you've been, where you've gotten to. You're a inspiration. And I want to thank you for being so honest on this show.
Thank you, man. This has been great. When I saw Z-Man on this, and I was like, man, and then I hit you up, and I'd love to be on it. And again, it's mostly, I was telling my kids, it's mostly to talk about, where I was near death and I changed my life in sobriety. And I want to, maybe someone hits me up after the show that never knew that they can become sober and live their life. But I don't have much to plug. Again, I play in a cover band, and I'm thrilled to just, have a part and stuff like that. But proud of my kids and plug their stuff, and then just everything they do. So thank you both. Chad, you've always been an inspiration. I love you. I'm always rooting for you. I hope to see you on stage again. And God bless you both, man.
Same to you, man. God bless you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Pleasure to have you guys on. Thanks.
Thank you. Our pleasure. Our pleasure. All right, that was the Savos, ladies and Savos. I'm sorry. We started off with Steve, and we got his better halves or quarters or thirds.
Thirds, yeah.
Thirds, yeah.
We got 2/3.
Dude, that was great, man. I'm inspired by these guys with the music, with the movies. They were fun to have on.
Yeah, absolutely. Steve and his life, and I didn't know that story. It's great to hear that. And like I said, my happiest part is that he got to repair his relationship with his kids.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Totally. Because, you lose that trust as a father. Sometimes it's hard to gain back. So thank God he was able to
100%. Yep.
Turn life around and to really, inspire his kids. Like he said, some got the hockey from him, some got the film from him, some got the music from him. So you could tell that
beautiful,
a big part of their life and has been. So it is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is our show. We do want to thank you for listening. Please go like, share, and follow all of our pages. Check out Steve and his son's adventures. And again, we're going to have the 2 younger men on in the future. And anything you want to say to the audience, Chad?
Thank you as always. Appreciate it. And keep listening. And we'll be back next week.
Yes, we will. Bye. Let me see if I can.
Merry Christmas to everybody.
Oh, Merry.
The next show will be the day after Christmas. So
yes.
Merry Christmas.
And I hope that I got this off